I had no natural ability to be a producer. I just willed it into existence, and I say that to say, if I can do it, anybody can do it, and I really believe that. My name is LP Giobbi, and I'm a producer, DJ, keyboard player, and founder of FemHouse. When I start on a new project, it starts in various places, but usually with the rhythm. I usually like to loop 16 bars in my Ableton and start, throwing different hat patterns in, or, mess around with just put a kick in and mess around with a piano rhythmic line, and then it sort of flows from there. Being a producer and a DJ are actually two completely separate skills. How I DJ is I'll maybe loop a drum beat, loop a piano part, bring in a different track that if I know what key it is, I can jam on the piano in that key on top of it. So the keying is really important to me. Every morning that I work out, I watch a different DJ set and I just Shazam through the whole thing anytime I hear anything I like, and then follow the wormhole, recommendations for if you like this, you might also like this, and oh, who is this artist? And going to their Bandcamp, and then it's this long process, right? But it's important to me to make every show different and worthwhile to come back to, and so it's just part of my job. They are all a little bit different, but there's that, Venn diagram of overlap, if you will. Especially in the electronic space, it's fun to see how that interplay works, and different sounds or beats that I make will definitely inform different songs that are written over it. It's definitely been a journey to figure out how I could make money and make a living from music. I was studying jazz piano performance in college, and then I graduated and was like, shoot, what now? But I read a book called Bill Graham Presents at the time, and he's one of the first big promoters. And I discovered that the guy who took over Bill Graham Presents, he opened an office called Another Planet, and it was down the street from my apartment in Berkeley. So I wrote a letter as to why he should hire me. And I walked down to the office and I clicked the buzzer and I pretended like I had a meeting with the CEO of the company. And because I sounded so confident, they let me in. And I walked up the stairs and they saw it was some, 19, 20-year-old kid. And they're like, Greg Perloff is busy. And I was like, but luckily right then he walked out of his office. And so I walked over to him and I said, Greg Perloff, I'm looking for a job and this is why you should hire me. And I handed him the letter and he read it and hired me on the spot. So I really started working on the industry side of things first. I feel so grateful for that opportunity because that's where I learned what a promoter does, what a booker does, what a manager does, all the different aspects of the music industry. I was raised by music lovers and deadheads, actually. The next best thing that ever happened to me was I begged my parents for piano lessons in second grade, and they felt like I was too young, but I was persistent, and they found a teacher named Carolyn Horn, and she cultivated creativity more than anything. Of course, I did my scales and learned classical and jazz, but some days we'd just play the inside of her Busendorf for piano, or some days we'd just play the bongos, or some days we would just dance. She's the reason I'm here today. I started FemHouse. There are a few things for me. One of them is education, so creating a safe space where, we can teach each other and lift as we climb and share tracks and give notes, and a community where it's safe to learn. But the other one is visual representation. And do I think having more female producers necessarily changes the world? No, but what I do think changes the world is having people believe they can be anything and do anything. And so we happen to be doing that in music and in production. I read a book called The Artist's Way, and it's a 12-week workbook about, find self-confidence and self-worth internally, regardless of where my craft got me in the world. I think that when we're children and we have less fear, we've been shown to be less fearful in the world, and part of the job of an artist is to tap into that. Belief is one of the greatest currencies, and you can kind of trick yourself into believing that with a few weird practices.